Now we are in the midst of a historic and controversial turning point in our nation's capital.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse.
The executive order makes clear that all requests for MPD services, the president delegates to Attorney General Bondi.
This morning, the D.C. police force is under federal control. President Donald Trump has invoked a section of the Home Rule Act to combat what he calls, quote, out of control crime in the district. And that includes calling in the National Guard.
New video taken by our crews within the last 2 hours show 3 separate federal agencies participating in a traffic stop on Minnesota and Benning Road in Northeast.
But less than 12 hours after the president's federal takeover announcement, police were on the scene of another deadly shooting, this time in Northwest. Our Jess Arnold is at a nearby police station following the details in that case and talking about what comes next for the district. Good morning, Jess.
Morning. Yeah, well, by our count, this marks D.C.'s 100th homicide of the year. Now, that is still down about 12% from the same time last year. But police say that they responded to a call for a man shot on the 1200 block of 12th Street Northwest. That's pretty close to the convention center around 7 p.m. last night. They took that man to the hospital where he was later pronounced deceased. Of course, they are still investigating here this morning. Now, President Donald Trump mentioned multiple recent murders in his announcement yesterday, including the shooting death of 21-year-old congressional staffer Eric Tarpinian-Jackum, who was shot and killed steps from the last night's shooting a couple of months ago, and 3-year-old Honesty Cheadle, who was shot on July 4th. Now, both of their mothers told our team that they support the president's move to assume control of the police department and send in the National Guard, with Honesty's mom sharing where she hopes they focus.
I was looking at Eric's ashes and a picture of Eric, and I said, Eric, you didn't die in vain. You didn't die in vain. They're going to make D.C. safe for others.
You have them in the areas that it's already police is in. Put them in areas that it's not police is in. The bad neighborhood.
Hands off, D.C.
Not everyone supports the president's move. I was at a protest outside the White House yesterday as he announced the takeover, where their message was hands off D.C. Some Maryland Democratic Congress members are already moving to reverse Trump's order as well. Representative Jamie Raskin is introducing a resolution to reverse the local emergency that the president enacted in order to take over MPD. Senator Chris Van Hollen is working with D.C. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton to reintroduce the legislation that grants D.C. full control over the D.C. National Guard and MPD when Congress reconvenes next month. Now, as we've been reporting, the White House has been ramping up the federal law enforcement that we've been seeing throughout the city over the last few days. President Trump, of course, now saying that he is deploying the National Guard to the city in the coming weeks, and that is about 800 soldiers. We'll see just how many end up fanning out throughout the city. Guys.